Hi everyone, it's me Lubna. Today is Friday, August 2nd, 2024. This video is dedicated to my beloved, and the topic of this video is going to be about why being busy is not the solution to life's problems. So I wanted to talk about this topic in relation to something I read once again in this book, Man's Search for Himself by the psychologist Rollo May, which I've mentioned in several of my recent videos as it's the book that I'm currently reading. And the particular passage that I wanted to share today has to do with how many people try to keep themselves busy, whether through work or other means, in order to distract themselves from having to face whatever life problems they're facing at the time. So I'm going to go ahead and read that passage aloud to you now. Here it goes. Many people keep busy all the time as a way of covering up anxiety. Their activism is a way of running from themselves. They get a pseudo and temporary sense of aliveness by being in a hurry, as though something is going on if they are but moving, and as though being busy is a proof of one's importance. Chaucer has a sly and astute comment about this type, represented in the merchant in Canterbury Tales. Methinks he seemed busier than he was. So I wanted to bring up this passage because it really spoke to me, as lately I have been going through a specific difficulty which I mentioned in some of my recent videos, which has to do with my academic and professional life. And currently I am not enrolled in a particular degree program, but I did finish 3 years of medical school. And while I've been going through this period of difficulty and transition, I received some advice from my mother, who is a family physician herself, to keep myself busy and to always be doing something to distract myself from my feelings and my problems, and not to wallow in misery. And while I understand that technique of coping strategy of keeping oneself busy and distracted with work in order to deal with one's problems, I do feel that in the long run it is not effective, because it's just avoidance. It's like an avoidance of whatever problem that you have, and as long as you're avoiding the problem, it's not going to be solved. But it does work short term. I'm not saying that keeping oneself busy doesn't work at all to help you deal with your problems. However, a lot of people do this. They work themselves to death and they don't want to go home. They are trying to use their work as a way to escape some type of problem that they might be facing at home, whether it has to do with their interpersonal relations with their spouse or their children or something else. They're just trying to distract themselves by working all the time. And we have to be careful about what it means to be busy, and why being busy is not the same as being so-called productive or using your time and your life in a meaningful way. You have to be careful about what you're busy doing. Like, are you busy doing busy work that is just like paperwork and things that aren't really serving you, that you won't be able to show at the end of the day that you did something, that you created something, that you learned something, whatever it may be. You have to be careful about what you're busy doing. And again, I wanted to go back to why being busy is not the solution to all of our problems. I remember in June, when I was in my internal medicine rotation for my 3rd year of med school, there was a patient who came in with his wife, and he was retired, and he was talking about, he said something very meaningful and that stuck with me, about how there are many things that are going wrong in society right now, and many things that are blatantly obvious, but most people, the majority of people, are on the surface, and they're too busy to see what's going on beneath the surface and what the patterns of society and where society is heading. And that really stuck with me because as a medical student at the time, I was being caught up into this busyness, this mindset of always being busy, always doing something, and not having time to think or to contemplate or to wonder about things or to question things. And I realized at that moment that it's not right to keep ourselves busy all the time, too busy to think and to question and to ponder and to create and to contemplate. Rollo May, in Man's Search for Himself, and also in his philosophy and psychology as a whole, emphasizes that every great creative person throughout history has been known to experience a moment of enlightenment and inspiration when they took a pause, when they were at rest, like taking a walk or just sitting and or dreaming or daydreaming or meditating, and all of a sudden the great idea for their masterpiece comes to them. And similarly, we need to take breaks, and we need to have moments where we're not busy, where we're just thinking and contemplating, in order to be able to come up with creative solutions to our problems, or even just ideas of new things that we want to create or do to make our lives better, or to make the world and the community around us better. So that is my message for today. I want to encourage you to think about what you're busy doing, if you're busy all the time, and why maybe that's not the best solution to you having a better life. And you need time to think, and you need time to be creative and just let your mind wander. Every great person throughout history has done that, and I want to be one of them. So that is my message for today. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you learned something valuable. And I want to wish you a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, or whatever it is, wherever you are in the world.